Well, we have reached the end of the road as the Flyers tonight fell 2-1 to the Washington Capitals in a game, a winner-take-all type thing going on down there in South Philadelphia. But there's a lot to talk about this. There's the drama that happened in this game that was being played between the Flyers and Capitals, and then there's the drama that was going on in Montreal between the Red Wings and the Canadiens. So we got some end-of-season awards to give out to the Flyers as well, and we got to close things down here on Clear the Ice. So let's waste no time, and let's get right into it. Welcome back to Clear the Ice here on the Edge of Philly Sports. It's your boy, Matty B, and my main man, there he is over there, Pat the Gobbler from Ambler on the call tonight. The final game 82 of 82. Season 2 of Clear the Ice is now in the book. Well, we'll be in the books after tonight. Pat, give me your instant reaction about the season ending and how it might have ended, and maybe kind of give me a very quick overall A through F grade of the Flyers this season.
Well, you could tell you and I officially packed this in. You got a baseball shirt on, I got a Sixers shirt on, so we already cashed out on this. But I mean, listen, it's a quick timeline look at it. You have to give this team a B minus, a B minus for what it was. For no one thought this team was going to go anywhere. No one really counted. Everyone thought it was going to be the same team from last year, and they're going to be a bottom feeder. No one saw this team competing for a playoff spot. No one saw this team was going to deal. Again, Danny Briere, he had to deal with some issues with Connor Gauthier issue, the Carhart issue, and still through all that, this team was here until the end, and then for the last 2 weeks of hockey is when the things fell off the wagon. And in hindsight, I mean, when I really look at, am I disappointed at the fact that they're not in the playoffs, that they didn't punch their ticket? Absolutely. But you and I have discussed this past weekend. I'll talk about of the greater good. Fine. Look, it was a win-win situation. Could they have got playoff experience? Fine. But are they not going to get the bigger draft pick? Sure. So when I look at this season as a whole, I'm happy for what it was. I did, like I said, it's like it was like Game of Thrones. The finish sucked, but overall, I'm still happy with the show. I was still happy for a couple of guys making great strides forward. This team was ahead of its time right now. So again, good things are bound to come. So we just got we got the appetizer.
Yeah. All right, let's set the table for tonight. Before the game even started, let's get everybody in the right frame of mind. I'm sure most of you already know what this game meant. It was the final game for the Flyers this season, but it was not the final game of the Capitals. But because of tie-breaking scenarios and whatnot, the Flyers had an opportunity here with a win tonight in regulation without giving the Capitals any points, and a loss in regulation by the Detroit Red Wings. The Flyers would have actually moved into the driver's seat. Not necessarily clinched anything, but found themselves in a really good position as they would play scoreboard watching for the rest of the season for the one remaining game that the Red Wings had and the Capitals had. And through this game, of course, 1-1, and let's jump into the game right now, Pat. Let's not waste any time because we got to get through this. In the first period, Pat, overall throughout the whole game, I know it was a playoff game. It really was. This was it for the Flyers. It was a win-or-go-home type game. But I was a little concerned and surprised about how tight the Flyers were playing. And so were the Capitals in a lot of ways. The Flyers this season were the most successful when they were playing with their hair on fire. They weren't getting many of those opportunities to be on fire, or were they not taking as many opportunities to be on fire? But a very tight game overall, I believe, tonight for the Flyers.
It was a very good defensive game for both teams, from the Capitals and from the Flyers. I mean, I saw them really try and shut down every scoring opportunity on each other. Again, the Flyers were trying to come up with some creative plays. Their defense would step up again, and vice versa to the other side. Look at anytime Ovechkin gets a goal, we all saw he's from the face-off circle, and he shoots the laser. He got a weird redirect off of his belly that went into that got the goal. So again, this was just one of those tough games that unfortunately the Flyers came off the short end about. So I do, like I said, it did feel like that it was a playoff atmosphere, but like you said, at the end of the day, there was just so much that needed to happen for this Flyers team to get in that door.
All right, let's talk about that first goal that Pat mentioned. Alex Ovechkin at the 18:08 mark of the first period. Pat, I'm never a big fan of giving up goals at the end of the period with like 2 minutes or less, and I'm a huge fan of scoring goals at the end of the period because it's such a momentum switch. It really is. You love to kind of take that goal scoring into intermission, and you really start kind of doubting yourself and thinking about things going into the locker room, giving up that late goal. But Ovechkin, his 31st of the year, from Mick Ilrath and TJ Oshie. As you mentioned a little bit about, let's break the goal down just a little bit. Very innocent enough looking kind of entry into the zone. I don't know. Again, I just call me crazy, but when you look at the Capitals, obviously Oshie and Ovechkin are two players that you pretty much need to keep an eye on at all times when they're on the ice because they are two of the team's biggest facilitators. Ovechkin's one of the biggest facilitators of all time in hockey history. So you definitely need to keep an eye on him. But Ovechkin found his way behind the defense in this play, and they found the way to get the wonky puck to him, and he tipped it in between Erston there to give the Capitals the 1-0 lead. That would be all your scoring, Pat, in the first period. Shots on net in that period were 7-7. And they would go. Flyers would head into the intermission down 1-0. But then the one of the newest Flyers that came over in the trade deadline, Erik Johnson, would get the Flyers some life here in the second period in the his fifth of the year at the 12:29 mark from Zamula and Couturier. And it was originally given to Couturier. It was changed, thankfully, because the right person got the goal here was Johnson. A nifty little play, facilitated completely by Igor Zamula, who was doing his best Jamie Drysdale impersonation on this play as he got that flex of that stick working big time, got the shot on net, and it found its way, ping-ponged its way over to Johnson, who tipped it in, deflected it in, to tie things up at 1-1. Pat, we have life. We have some energy in the building right now. When the Flyers were able to tie this thing, again, tight. The teams were both playing real tight, Pat, but were you thinking, okay, 1-1, here we go, let's open it up and let's get things rolling?
I absolutely was thinking that. I was thinking, again, you get that Eric Johnson goal that, like you said, the bounce, whatever, reflect, and then he finds the back of the net. And then after that, the crowd was, that sound electric into the Wells Fargo Center. And after that, you saw they were coming up and they were getting scoring chances after scoring chances after scoring chances. But unfortunately, they weren't just able to capitalize. So then, and it got back to being, the Capitals wound up making their adjustments, wound up playing it, turning it right, cranking it down and playing their tough defense. Just played zone defense for this Flyers team, and the Flyers team struggled trying to find the back of the net.
Yeah, and from that point on, that would be all your scoring in the second period. As for the shots on net for that period, it was 8-5 Flyers with the shot lead heading into the second intermission. And then the third period started, Pat. And listen, again, it's kind of a theme with me here tonight with this team. You've gotten to this point, regardless of how you got here and regardless of how much of an opportunity we did kind of squander rolling down the stretch, you found yourself heading into the final period of your season, still with your playoff hopes alive. I was thinking they were going to leave a little bit more out there on the ice. They didn't. Very conservative play from John Tortorella. It was almost like he was more concerned about not giving up the go-ahead goal than he was scoring the go-ahead goal, and it was very chippy, very back and forth, a lot of distance stuff. Flyers were really not taking too many offensive chances by subtracting from their defensive coverage, and it just, to me, just didn't seem like, come on, guys, we're running out of time. During the telecast, Boucher mentioned something around the 6-minute mark that the conversation probably should be getting ready to be had about yanking the goalie at that time. Mm-hmm. Pat, obviously, with a tie not helping the Flyers, a tie is a loss for the Flyers anyway. We can't have the Capitals get any points in this game. How are you feeling about the Flyers approaching the third period, and especially down the stretch of that third period?
Yeah, I'm with you. I was sitting there myself watching around that 10-minute mark. I'm like, when are we going to start cranking things up here? when are we going to start cranking up the juices? When are we going to start turning things into high gear here? Because we're running out of time, and it looks like we're kind of slow pacing and trying to still pick our shots when we should be just trying to zoom, 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 just take shots at all those crazy things and let anything happen, kind of a deal, and just kind of bring tons of offensive pressure. No, they kind of just play observe hockey, and they were just still kind of taking their time. And there was, I guess, no blood flowing. And I don't know if John Tortorella during his intermissions, like, guys, like, hurry up, we got, or during the sidelines, well, we couldn't see through the TV, like, guys, guys need to step up here, like, we're on like a time countdown. So that's and that's why I'm worried about a little bit, but with his message. I mean, I can't see John Tortorella sitting on his hands and not saying anything to his team. Him being that kind of coach, I could see him screaming, but I don't know the team was ready to respond. I see maybe on offense there was Owen Tippett and Konechny who really tried to put it out there. Other than that, this is what you have.
Well, Pat, unbeknownst to the Flyers and Capitals, but a little bit about maybe 200 miles to the north up in Montreal, the Canadiens were holding on to a 4-3 lead late.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Pat, 7 seconds remaining in the game late. And they were looking to continue to keep the Flyers' playoff hopes alive. Well, that wasn't to be because with about 4 seconds remaining or 5 seconds remaining, whatever it was, David Perron, his 17th of the year from the Ghost, Shane Gostisbehere, his 46th assist, tied the game. That's right, Shane Gostisbehere helping us out there. Tied the game for the Red Wings, sent it into overtime. Didn't matter at that point because the Red Wings couldn't get any points, and they got the 1 point by sending the game into overtime, thus ending the Flyers season before the Flyers even knew it, before the game between the Capitals and Flyers ended. But the Flyers did pull the goalie at around the 3-minute mark, and then TJ Oshie would put the empty netter in, kind of sealing the fate and ending the game. Pat, how you feel about old Shane Gostisbehere coming back to bite us a little bit here tonight?
Yeah, I just know he's probably out there somewhere up there getting ready to take his flight back to Detroit and saying, "Boah," saying goodbye, Flyers. How about this? How about this, Flyers? Sure, there's a cup of wine. There you go. I'm going to just pee on your season. How about that? Yeah, I can see him doing the Jimmy Butler kind of, get rid of me, I'll show you. Get rid of it. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. This stiff is going to be playing in the playoffs, and we got to sit there and just like this. Unreal. It's terrible.
Well, he's not necessarily in the playoffs yet because the Capitals did clinch. He's not in there yet. I don't even think are they going to get in? Hang on, let me take a look at the updated standings. It got really confusing.
They're tied right now.
No, Detroit is out. They were eliminated. The Capitals are the final seed. They are the 8th seed. It is. So yeah, no, it was, I believe, Montreal. I think something happened. The overtime tiebreaker, whatever. But Detroit is gone. But they ended up ending our season too. So, but all right, Pat. Wow. All right, so shots on net for that third period. 13-6. Flyers opened it up a little bit, mainly at the end of that game as they were just already down by a goal and they were coming at the Capitals. For the game, the Flyers outshot the Capitals 28-18. Where have we heard that before? Just about all season long. Face-off percentages, the Flyers were out face-off 48-51 by the Capitals. 0 for 1 on the power play. Yep, thank God. I don't have to talk about the Flyer power play. Oh, I'm going to talk about it one more time, but thank God that I'm really kind of getting over with it. The Capitals were 0 for 0 on the power play. Flyers didn't commit any penalties. Flyers blocked 26 shots tonight, but the Capitals blocked 32. So somebody actually outblocked the Flyers. That didn't happen very often this year. Flyers with 7 giveaways and 9 takeaways. Pat, I want to talk a little bit more about this game. About the let's talk first. And Joe Hale brings it up. The disallowed goal early in the game. Now, for those of you who do not remember this play, I believe there's some talk about whether or not the play was hand passed or what the situation was. Pat, what was your take on that play?
Give me 1 second. I'll be right back, Matty B. Something popped up here. Give me 1 second. I'll be right with that.
All right. I will go ahead and I will answer that question for you, Joe. It was really a bang-bang type play. I think at one point the ref actually loses sight of the puck, and that's where I think the biggest problem is. Once an official loses sight of a puck, they're going to blow it. They're going to blow it dead, and that's just kind of protocol. So I understand the frustration. There was some high sticking going on. There was sticks up, coming off people's equipment, potentially kicked in. But I think it really boils down to the fact that they lost sight of the puck. That's kind of what I'm looking at here. So, but you should have had more scoring opportunities than that. The Flyers really didn't have many opportunities throughout this game. And that one opportunity, it sucks. It does. But yeah, they tried and they ran out of steam. They most certainly did run out of steam tonight and throughout the season, Joe. Dawn checking in. Dawn, how you doing? I don't love EOP, Dawn. EOP is an anchor around my neck, dragging me down into the abyss.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think the Flyers are in good shape for the next year. And we're gonna touch on that a little bit here in a little bit. But Anthony says, hey guys, I want to know what Keith Jen said to Torts. Probably, and I hope what he said was great job. Can't wait to see what you got in store for us next year. And I hope you win the Jack Adams Award because you definitely are a candidate in our minds. There's probably no other head coach that I think deserves that award this year. Peter Laviolette, yeah, okay, whatever. Rangers are a stacked group. I could have probably coached them to a President's Trophy. Rick Tocchet and who's Tocchet coaching now? The Arizona Coyotes? Come on, man. Really? I think it's definitely, in my opinion, it's John Tortorella. Marshall Cook says, I'm glad it wasn't the Flyers or Penguins, but I feel bad for the Wings. And there. So, anyway, Pat, there we are, 2-1.
Back to your question, though. No, it's funny you talk about that play, which what to me, like, first of all, he called the play dead because he couldn't find the puck himself. I mean, all you had to do is look up in the air because it was coming right back down. And
well, Pat, hang on. Let me put on my official sweater here real quick. And I've been in this position many times myself. As soon as we're taught and trained, as soon as you lose sight of the puck, you blow the puck. You blow the play. You got to. As soon as you lose sight of that puck, how the hell are you going to make a judgment anyway on anything that might happen when you lose sight of the puck? It is standard protocol. You got to blow the play dead. I understand the frustration. I do. But that's what they're supposed to do.
So yes, listen, I totally get it. Look, listen, they're doing their job. He couldn't see the puck, but it just because it's in Philly and the Flyers rolled in.
I got you. I got you.
They went nuts, man.
And of course, it was going to happen. That was the last thing I think I wanted anything to be tonight was the officials to have their hands in this game. The sixth man or the sixth player on the ice potential penalty at the end of the game was also somewhat frustrating, but. If you look at the letter of the rule there, the player has to actually touch the puck in some way. It has to hit him, ricochet off him. He's got to make an attempt on the puck. That didn't happen, or he's got to actually join the play, and that kind of didn't happen. But who cares, folks? Honestly, with our power play, who the hell? I don't want them on the power play, for God's sakes. I mean, we're talking about a unit this season that was 31 for 254 for 12%. Effective. They actually scored 4 less power play goals this year than they did last year, and I don't know how they do that. I honestly don't. That is definitely something we gotta clean up here going into next season, and that's going to come with talent. Maybe we do get the opportunity to fire Rocky Thompson. I don't know. Something's got to change with that power play. But Pat, let's take a pause here, and I want to thank some of our sponsors because I don't want to lose sight of that. Don't forget, everybody, Dolan's down there at Ridley Park, our Wiffle Ball Mania, John Kruk, Mickey Morandini, Saturday, March 25th. Bring the family. It's a family-friendly event. So you want to see John Kruk and Mickey Morandini swatting at wiffle balls, head on down to Dolan's and mark that day on your calendar, May 25th. Pat, here we go. I want to talk to you about this now. Before we do this, let's do it. We're going to do it, Pat. Let's jump into our 3 Flyers stars of the night. Pat, it's our last one of the season. I'm going to give it to you. You get the lead off.
All right, lead off batter. Here we go. I'm going to take right off the bat. I'm going to go defensive side again. I cannot stop praising Nick Sealer for what he's done. Just being a playmaker again. His body language just speaks how much he wants it here, how much he wants to stay in Philly, how much he's got Philly written on his sleeves. Just the way he carries the way he carries himself and his demeanor. I love everything about his game. And again, just trying to be a being your body armor out there. I loved all of his game. I got to make him my 3rd player of the game. Number 2, I'm going to go with Eric Johnson. Obviously, just getting that, just get the Flyers in. Get the goal. send the message to the whole building that we're not done yet. Trying to get everybody riled up because right after that they start trying to make plays. And of course, I got to go number one, Sam Harrison. I think Sam Harrison again, third straight game. It has played only let one goal in. Uh, just playing phenomenal right now. Just where was the Sam Harrison 2 weeks ago? That's all I want to know.
That's a strong one, Pat. Good way to end up the season. I'm going to go ahead and change. Mine's similar but different. Igor Zamula, I'm going to give him my number 3 star of the game.
Yeah.
We're looking for a bunch of defensemen to kind of start stepping things up and being that for the future. And Zamula, who had himself a kind of up and down season, up enough to where he lasted here for a good period of time after not making the team out of camp. He then took that opportunity to go down to Lehigh and pretty much solidified himself from that point forward and plays significant minutes here up here. Now, granted, he had opportunities because of injuries, but that's what happens. You got to take those opportunities. He played really well, and I mentioned he was doing his best Jamie Drysdale for me tonight.
Mm-hmm.
He did have an assist, so he's my number 3 star. My number 2 star, yeah, I'm going to go with the old veteran Eric Johnson. Getting some offense going where the team obviously was struggling to get offense. They've struggled offense all season, but in a game where we really needed Eric Johnson, really put it all on the line. And provided that offense for the Flyers, and he's been a good pickup for the team heading forward. I don't know if he's going to last here. And actually, I think he is under contract next year. Anyway, whatever. But we'll see where that goes. But he's my number 2 star, and you nailed it on the head for number 1, Pat. Sam Emerson. You got to kind of I got to get off the guy's back a little bit. What he was called and asked to do this season, just amazing. He was never called 51 starts was his grand total of the year. That was about 25 to 30 more than they anticipated him to have. And based on the situations, that kind of led him to take over the starting position. Now, I don't know if Sam Emerson is the starting goaltender of this team next year. I don't know. And I don't know how comfortable I feel with that, but he's definitely the backup. I want him as part of the tandem that's going to be our starting goalies next year. So that is definite there. So good way for Sam to kind of rebound. He mentioned 3 straight games that he played really well. And we needed that 4th one somewhere along the line, man, but it is what it is. But there you go, Pat. There are my 3 stars. Our last Flyers 3 stars of the game for this season. So Pat, I want to thank you for doing such a great job with that this year.
Hey man, this is kudos to all of you, Matty B. This has just been an awesome thing. Again, this is Clear Ice was a heck of a show. Again, this has been a wonderful ride. From what it was last year. Just had to constantly talk about how bad this team was and looking for tiny little pieces of process and good pieces to move forward. But now we feel good about the team. We felt good about the management in the front office, the coaching, how he's developed, how he's been toured. Travis Connect and Owen Tippett. You really felt good about Owen Tippett this year. Some pieces that were just again moved away from the pieces that you didn't have last year. You got away from the Ivy Provies and all those guys, and you've kind of seen a couple of the young guys step up, the Cam Yorks and all those guys. It really came in the zone a little bit. So I was thrilled for what I saw. Again, this is a young team. You want to talk about Sam Harrison, like I've noted before, still year 1 of this guy. Just really, this is his whole freshman year in a nutshell. There's obviously stuff he needs. There's obviously stuff he needs to work on, part of his game. But for what we had, I would say 3/4 of it was being nice. It's just the most important part of it sucked. But yeah, 3/4 of his game has been nice.
Yeah, it was. And again, you mentioned, and we're going to start obviously transitioning over to some of the end of the season stuff. And I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up. Let's go over the Flyers announced their end of season awards. Bobby Clark Trophy for the team's MVP was given to Travis Konechny. No brainer there. Travis Konechny gets the most point. He gets the Toyota Cup for accumulating the most points for a Flyer this season. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. It's for being selected as the number 1 star most this season. The Barry Ashby Award for the Flyers' most outstanding defenseman goes to Travis Sanheim. The Pelly Lindbergh Memorial Trophy for the most improved player to Cam York. The Yannick Dupree Class Guy Act Award goes to Nick Seeler. Absolutely 100%. Gene Hart Memorial Award goes to Sam Urson, the Flyer who demonstrated the most heart, which is it's a really interesting play on words there, but definitely deserved. Scott Lawton gets the Alumni Award from the Flyers, and there's your end of season Flyer awards. It's such a bittersweet night here, Pat. Because we want to revel in the fact that they really had a really good positive season, but yet, we're sitting here kind of what could have been if we could have just figured it out earlier. If the things would have just broken their way. Joe Hale says, how much money do the Flyers have to spend in free agency? Well, Joe, it is way too early for me to tell you that right now. Right now, if free agency started today, the Flyers got about $800,000 to spend, and that's obviously not going to do much, but they're going to move some contracts. There's some contracts falling off. The new league year will start on July 1st. There's some players that won't be back. There's going to be a lot of turnover on this team, a lot more than I think than a lot of people think there is, and a lot of interesting things. Carter Hart, what's going on there? What do we do about him? He is a restricted free agent. Do the Flyers offer him a deal? Do they say to heck with it? Does the NHL step in and kind of say you can't offer these guys deals because of their situation? I don't know. There's going to be a lot of things going on. The NHL draft obviously is going to come out at the end of June, on June 28th and 29th. A lot of things for the Flyers salary cap situation have yet to kind of develop. So it's way too early, obviously, to talk about that. But right now they have about $766,000 of available cap room, which would get me. I'd sign a contract for that, but obviously I don't know what the hell I'd be doing for them. But anyway, Pat, let's finish up here. Let's kind of go down the board, some more sponsors as we're kind of wrapping this thing up. Don't forget Sherry's tickets for the best great price, no hidden fee tickets in sports, concert, theater. www.sherrys.com. Family owned and operated. Save an additional 10% with the EOP 10 code. And if you're done with them, go over to Dave Cherry at 610-565-0300 for workman's compensation, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, or criminal law. No one does it better than Dave. Yes, he does. All right, Pat. Man, I don't want to say it, man, but final thoughts?
Man, I can't believe it's that sucks. It's again a season no one saw coming. I said to Mike Laro, and Mike Laro, he always vouches it. I said that I feel like this team was going to be sneaky good. And I've said it from day one because I believed in Danny Briere. I believed in Keith Jones. I just believed that what they were doing with this team and find the replacements that nobody would ever pick up. Oh, my man, Mark Gordon, what's up, buddy? They picked up pieces that no one wanted to use and said, no. Dave Briere said, I know these guys could play. I have felt like they're going to be that team that hovered around the 8th seed. And they proved me wrong because they were hovering around the 6th seed. So they did something a little better. And listen, they held on to that spot for, like I said, to the last 2 weeks of hockey. And then unfortunately, they crashed and burned. And listen, up till today, they had meaningful hockey. Up till the last half of third quarter, they had meaningful hockey. I mean, you can't ask much more from a team that wasn't supposed to be anything. And that's what they've done. You see, like I said, I've seen some tremendous process moving forward with Owen Tippett. Just he could prove to you he could be a captain at some point in his career. He's a bona fide forward. The young guns of this team, the defense of this team stepped up tremendously. The forwards of this team, I mean, everyone, the young guns, the Cam Yorks, the Morgan Frosses, like those guys have stepped up tremendously. I mean, I can't, salute this team enough. They're young, and unfortunately, the unexperienced caught up with this team. So it happens. It happens all the time. So listen, they got plenty of time to get work on some things. They'll get things right. And I just believe next year is going to be better. We're only scratching the surface here.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about. You mentioned the last 2 weeks. It was a little bit more than that. It was. I have the Flyer collapse starting on March 9th, which was the game in Tampa. Since that period of time, March 9th, the Flyers had been outscored 73-43 by their opponents. They were also shorthanded 40 times, and they gave up 13 shorthanded goals, which equates to a 70%, almost 70% that teams were scoring goals on them at that point. So that is a drastic switch in what they were doing earlier in the season. Not that they were putting the puck in the net, gangbusters. Before that, they weren't giving up many goals, but something happened there, and obviously the arson fatigue thing is something we can debate, and I'm sure we will debate. But for the Flyers on the season, I'm going to give you guys these season numbers real quick. 232 goals. That is less than 3 goals a game. That is another reason why we are not in the playoffs right now. It's just we got to be able to score more than that. The Flyers gave up 258 goals, so they were, and that's over 3 games. So they were getting literally outscored on average throughout the season. The Flyers did, though, pot 2,768 shots for almost 34 a game. They only gave up 27 a game at 2,225. Their overtime record this year was 4-8. They were 4-3 in the shootouts. Shorthanded goals, 16. That's amazing. They gave the puck away 494 times for 6 a game. They took it away 456 times for about 5.5, and they blocked 1,528 shots for 18.6 a game. And since 2021 and 22, the Flyers have gone 94 for 705 on the power play. That's 13%. So there's definitely some numbers there that are very glaring and that we need to really address if we're really going to make a serious push to get better. But Pat, all in all, man, how can you not be super excited about what the season was and what the future of this team is going to be? And here on the Edge of Philly Sports, we're not done with you on this at all. We are going to be giving you continuing coverage of the NHL draft. That's right. We will be doing NHL draft coverage this year. Be on the lookout for some more information about that. I've been dropping the player cards, but we're going to covering the first round of that draft. We're also going to keep you going through free agency stuff. We're going to talk Flyers at the end of once the season ends, and I mean like the Stanley Cup playoffs are over. We're going to come back, probably do a draft recap show and a season-ending show with all the members of Clear the Ice. If we can pry them away from the Fightins final, come back over here to Clear the Ice to do that show. But we're not done. But obviously, this is goodbye for now, Pat, on Clear the Ice season number 2. So where can we find you out there, Pat?
Now, listen, guys, you won't find me too much further because tomorrow night I'll be doing the post-game show for the Sixers playoff game, and then I will be right back Thursday doing some soccer, some union coverage stuff, and then right back Sunday morning, PM and AM, of course. And you catch me there. And, don't let me forget Saturday after the Phils, I'll be back to do a Phillies post-game show. So, guys, you know me, I'm always busy right here, Edge of Philly Sports. I don't go nowhere else but hang right here with Matty B and the rest of the crew here at Edge of Philly Sports.
Yeah, we're all over the place, and you guys already know where you can find me. All right, in the immortal words of Mr. Gene Hart, good night, good hockey. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here on the Clear the Ice this season. It was a blast. We will be back definitely next year to take you through another ride of a Flyer season, and hopefully it's the one that ends us in the playoffs and potentially a Stanley Cup as we hopefully get one more step closer. But until we talk again, you guys have a good night.